Did you know that even if it's called marine insurance, it can also cover cargo traveling over land? We're going to talk about that and many other interesting things about marine insurance today. What's up? You're watching Tito Talks non-life insurance discussions with me, your favorite Tito Miguel, who loves to make non-life insurance discussions easier to understand for both agents and clients. Magandang Wednesday po sa ating lahat. Thank you so much for tuning in to another special session of Tito Talks. And as mentioned in the intro, yes, we're doing it today. You probably waited for it for quite a while, but we were bound to get to this point. We are now finally opening up a new playlist, and this time it is the Marine Insurance playlist. Yes, the most feared, the most ignored, the probably the most complicated and the strangest type of non-life insurance available in the market. Now, why is it intimidating? Why is it hard? Why is it complicated, you say? Well, primarily for a lot of reasons. Well, if it's that big of a problem, shouldn't people just stop selling it? And there's another issue as well. You see, part of the Insurance Commission's licensure exam consists of 50 items, and some of these items of which could contain items about marine insurance. So whether you want to sell marine insurance or not, there's no escape. And with that being said, most people treat marine insurance like a necessary evil. Oh, I just need to study this so I can pass the exam. Oh, I just need to study this so I can get my license. And that's not a bad practice after all. But what most people do not realize is that marine insurance could probably be one of the most rewarding types of insurance right now in the market. Now, before we get into that type of discussion, it's very, very important to understand our definitions of terms, what it is, what it can do, and where the hell does all the confusion and complexity come from. On a base level, if you take a look straight from the insurance code, na sinulat pa noong panahon ni Marcos, the basic definition of your marine insurance is quite useful when understanding what it does, and it doesn't limit what it can actually do for you. And we're going to read it out for you here. Marine insurance is an insurance against risks connected with navigation to which a ship, cargo, freight, profit, or other insurable interest in a movable property may be exposed to during a certain voyage or a fixed period of time. What the hell did I just read? I know it's a bit complicated, right? A lot of highfalutin terms, a lot of commas, a lot of broken clauses there. But let's try to break down that definition to make it easier for you, shall we? I want you to just focus on two very important terms from that definition. And those two terms are insurable interest and movable property. The basis of your definition of marine insurance revolves around these two things: insurable interests on movable properties. Now, when we say you've got an insurable interest, this is something to which you're interested in insuring, or something to which you have the right and the obligation or responsibility to insure. This could mean your cargo, this could mean a shipment of something, this could mean a shipment of goods, electronics, raw materials, whatever it is that you have an interest in or which you have an economic relationship with. Now, if you put that cargo on a movable property, let's say a boat, let's say a truck, let's say even a plane, then you already have marine insurance. Because during that adventure wherein the movable property transports those goods, and yes, it's called an adventure, whenever these movable properties engage in an adventure to transport your insurable interests from one point to another, your insurable interest is exposed to various perils, whether that be over the sea, whether that be over the land, whether that be over the air. And you'll be very surprised to know that all of these types fall under marine insurance. And this leads us to one of the more common realizations about marine insurance, which is just because it says marine insurance, most people start to think about large cargo ships carrying millions and millions of pesos worth of goods, imports, exports from country to country, only engaged in by the richest of the rich, the most successful of the successful, and the biggest of the businesses. And most agents don't have access to that networks, which makes marine insurance somewhat a little bit off-putting, offsetting, something too high, something that the big boys only play that the little guys really can't get into, especially if you're a beginner agent. Now, that's not necessarily false. It is true that marine insurance involves these very, very large deals, these very, very large shipments, these very, very large ships, these very, very expensive types of cargoes. It also deals with imports and exports, multinational global businesses that distribute their merchandise and goods to different parts of the world. Yep, that's part of marine insurance, but that's not all there is to it. As we mentioned earlier, as long as you have an insurable interest on a movable property, you've got marine insurance. And because of that definition, you've got several, yep, I'm not kidding, several different types of marine insurance. Now, before we get into the types of marine insurance, I'd like to correct myself. There are different types of marine insurance. What the hell does that mean, Miguel? I know, it's confusing, right? Well, you can classify marine insurance based on a couple of things. And the first classification we're going to look into is the types of marine insurance based on what you're insuring. If you're talking about marine insurance based on what you're insuring, you've got two main types. Mainly, you've got hull, marine hull insurance, wherein you're talking about insuring ships, the ships that carry the goods. And then you've also got marine cargo insurance, wherein you're now talking about the insurable interests that you would need to insure, your cargo, your goods, your merchandise, and whatnot. So if you're talking about what it is that you're insuring in marine insurance, you've got these two classifications. But that's not all. You also have classifications based on where the insurable interest is traveling. Yep. Depending on where the insurable interest is going, whether it's on land, sea, or by air, you also have different types. And under this classification, you've got three specific types of marine insurances. First and foremost, you've got your ocean marine insurance. And it's pretty obvious what it means, right? This time we're talking about international trades between countries. You're talking about imports and exports. So when goods from one country leave that country and head to another country, you're mostly dealing with ocean marine insurance because you're crossing oceans to get your goods from point A to point B. Now, next off, if you want to go smaller, and yes, you can. Good news for agents with not with networks that aren't that large yet. There's also marine insurance that deals with goods and goods being transported within the archipelago, our lovely country, the Philippines, which is called inter-island insurance. So if these goods are being transported from island to island, Luzon to Visayas, Visayas to Mindanao, Luzon to Mindanao, so on and so forth, then yes, that is still marine insurance, although you still use boats, but now you're more concerned with inter-island shipments. And then finally, yes, we did not forget, if you do not have clients that do nationwide shipments and you're only doing companies, or you only have clientele that have businesses that provide to certain cities only, to certain localities, just to certain regions stuck in the same island, that's okay because you've also got inland marine insurance, which takes care of these cargoes that ride on trucks that go from warehouse to warehouse. And yes, like we said earlier, that is still a type of marine insurance. With that being said, let's take a look at our word of the day, and that is going to be the term adventure. Yep, the term adventure. I never thought I'd had to use this word in a professional sense, but yes, the term adventure is used to refer to the trips that the movable properties make to transport goods from point A to point B. No, they're not necessarily called shipments. No, they're not necessarily called trips. Hindi po sila tinatawag na biyahe. They are referred to as adventures. And if you take a look at the dictionary, adventure is a noun referring to an activity rich with exciting events and perils as well. Now let's pronounce that properly. Let's put in the schwas. Let me throw in the proper phonetic transcription of the word and say this with your tito. Adventure. Say that for Tito one more time. Adventure. And with that being said, let me introduce you to the next topic we'll be talking about. Still, we're going to be tackling marine insurance. And if you're interested in knowing a little bit more about inland marine insurance, kindly click on this video right here. And with that being said, once again, this is your favorite Tito Miguel. If you like this kind of content, please feel free to click on like and subscribe to my channel for more non-life insurance content. It's been a pleasure talking to you today, and I hope you enjoy the rest of your day.